Now, who today can we say are trying to worship Jehovah with spirit and truth in this great spiritual temple? We're not being presumptuous by saying Jehovah's Witnesses are trying to do that. And what a privilege we have to be with our brothers and sisters in this great spiritual temple arrangement. And there are three very important things that we'd like you to take note of. So if you're taking notes or on a device, if you can just put a little note there, these three things are very important. The first one is we need to uphold Jehovah's standards. We need to uphold Jehovah's standards. The standards of the world are plummeting, aren't they? In fact, sometimes you wonder if there's any standards in the world today, because it seems everything is accepted.
Everything is accepted, is it, Geoffrey Jackson? The world accepts everything. Does the world accept covering up child abuse? That would be my question. I don't think secular authorities on the whole do encourage or accept the covering up on an industrial scale of child sexual abuse. And yet that's a standard that Jehovah's Witnesses very much do have. Which brings me to what Geoffrey Jackson said about presumptuousness. If you are feeling this sense of déjà vu, when Geoffrey Jackson was saying we're not being presumptuous in saying that Jehovah's Witnesses are the ones trying to worship God with spirit and truth, perhaps this is why.
Do you see yourselves as modern-day disciples, the modern-day equivalent of Jesus' disciples?
We certainly hope to follow Jesus and be his disciples.
And do you see yourselves as Jehovah God's spokespeople on earth?
That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. The scriptures clearly show that someone can act in harmony with God's Spirit in giving comfort and help in the congregations.
So Geoffrey Jackson gave testimony to the Australian Royal Commission in 2015, where he said that it would be presumptuous, or it would seem to be quite presumptuous, to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using. Those were his actual words. Now, in fairness, what he proceeded to say is, in that respect, we view ourselves as trying to fulfill that role, trying to fulfill the role of the faithful slave. And what's interesting is when he makes these comments now in 2025, he uses that word again, trying.
We're not being presumptuous by saying Jehovah's Witnesses are trying to do that.
We're not being presumptuous in saying that we are the ones trying to worship God in spirit and truth. So, although there may seem to be a contradiction, or like some backpedaling going on here, like Geoffrey Jackson trying to refute or contradict what he said under pressure when he was giving testimony at the Australian Royal Commission, actually what he's saying is the same. It's just this word trying that is key here. And my question would be, what difference does that make? You know, what difference does trying make? Surely everybody who claims to be religious is trying to worship God, trying to worship God with spirit and truth, or in spirit and in truth. But as Yoda said in Star Wars, do or do not, there is no try. In other words, you're either doing it or you're not. trying is quite frankly irrelevant. And as Geoffrey Jackson goes on in this final talk, what's interesting is there are even further indications that even he himself has at least some reservations when it comes to the extent to which Jehovah's Witnesses are ticking all the boxes when it comes to pure worship.